Tips with Dr. Ish. And today, as usual, I will be touching a rather sensitive topic, but then something that I know will be of interest to you and also of interest to anyone who's an employee or who's working somewhere and they're dissatisfied with what they're currently doing and are thinking, should I leave my job? Should I not leave my job? Should I go and start a business? Basically, this addresses the issue of you wanting to quit your 9 to 5. There's so many people that are into one problem or the other. They want to know, when is the right time for me to quit my job? Should I quit my job? Am I ready to quit my job? Do I have the capacity to quit my job? So if you're in the category of people that are looking for how to quit their 9 to 5 and you don't know, or I mean, quit, escape, give up, drop, dump, drench your 9 to 5, and you're looking for something better to do. Maybe what you have in mind is to start your own business, follow your dreams. Maybe you have a passion. Maybe you have some sort of business you want to start, and you have a 9 to 5 or several jobs, and you're thinking, is this the right time to quit? Should I quit this job? Do I have the mental capacity, the financial capacity, this job? And will I crash land if I quit this job? So basically, today, what I'm talking about is how to escape your 9 to 5 without financial chaos. So if you currently have a 9 to 5 or some sort of job or jobs that you're running and you're looking for the easiest possible way out, if you're planning to quit this year, this may save you from some financial mistake. I have quit several jobs during my career, and while I quit the job because maybe the workplace was toxic, or I felt unappreciated, or I felt the workload was too much, some of the decisions I made quitting the job, were not really so bad. Quitting the job is not bad, but then again, the question is, when you quit your job, can you survive for the next 3 to 6 months? And that's what we are going to address today. So if you are planning to quit your job this year, if it's a plan you have to quit your job this year, the few things I'm going to tell you in the next few minutes may save you from financial chaos. Now, I'm not saying if you want to quit your job, you shouldn't quit, but there are certain things you need to put in place if you want to quit your job. So the first question is, if when you want to quit your job, why do you want to quit your job? Are you quitting your job because you feel the workplace is toxic, or you feel you need a better paying job to pay you a better salary? Or do you want to quit your job because you have some your passion, you want to follow your passion? Or you want to quit your job because you have this business that you think is going to give you thousands, millions, and hundreds of dollars? So quitting your job is not a bad idea, but there's a timing to it, there's a strategy to it, there's an intention to it, and it's something you need to plan. So you don't go waking up early in the morning one day and just say, you know what, I'm tired of this job, I need to quit, and then you just quit. I've seen people quit job to just go home and lay down, and they don't have any source of income to feed themselves, take care of themselves or their families. So it's a bad idea to quit your job when you don't already have a job. So what I'm trying to tell you is, the first thing is, if you want to quit your job for another job, you should have the other job ready before you quit. Or if you want to quit your job to start your own business, then there are several other factors you need to look into before quitting your job. So I'm not saying stay in a toxic workplace. I'm not saying suffer so much. I'm not saying break your back because of a certain job. But I'm saying, before you quit your job, there are certain things you need to do to give yourself financial stability and to make yourself, to avoid financial chaos before you quit. So yes, you can quit your job, but there are certain things you need to look out. Now, why do people want to quit their job? Different reasons. So people quit their job because they're experiencing burnout. Maybe the job is so stressful. There's just too much headache. It's tedious, and they feel maybe they're not well paid. People also quit their job because of this glass ceiling effect. Probably they're not getting promoted, they're not getting acknowledged, and they feel like they're not being paid their worth. People also quit their job because of politics. If you don't know how to play office politics, then you may be getting into some funny situations that you can't get yourself out of. And another reason why people quit their jobs is because of what is called income cap, right? So that income cap means that they are probably working harder than what they are being paid. So before we address how you should quit your job, it's very important to first of all identify why do you want to quit your job, right? And most times, if you're experiencing burnout, the ceiling effect, politics, or income cap, or you're not well paid, or you're so stressed out, and you're not getting promoted, or you feel bullied, or it's a toxic workplace, you have a very valid reason for wanting to quit your job. Because at the end of the day, these things affect you mentally, these things affect you physically. And I mean, it only makes more sense if you're going to work every day and you're shedding tears before going to work, then I mean, it's more or less like you're going to a prison. So, whatever reason you have to quit your job is valid. However silly you think this reason is, however inconsequential you think this reason is, this is me telling you that any reason you have to quit your job is valid. But you need to have the correct timing before you can quit your job so you don't face financial chaos, right? So there's what I call the financial exit framework. And that financial exit framework is supposed to protect you and help you plan your exit, right? There's a financial framework or financial exit framework that helps you to plan. What? Okay. That helps you to plan for your exit. So, I'm going to be breaking down this financial exit framework to you. So, if you're working anywhere and you feel like I'm going to quit today, I'm going to quit tomorrow, or I'm quitting this year, then this live session is for you. If you want to quit your job, you want to quit to start your own business or your passion or follow your dreams, you are valid. You have a valid reason, you have a valid point. But you must follow a financial exit framework to ensure that you can take care of yourself and feed yourself. And this is a very strategic financial plan for anybody who wants to ensure that when they leave their job, they can take care of their bills. Then I'm going to share with you these few plans. So there are five steps in this financial exit framework that you can use to safeguard yourself from financial chaos. And like I said, any reason you have for quitting your job is valid. So the first thing is the 6 to 12 months runway. Remember the past few lives I've been having in the recent within the past 2-3 days, I've been talking about saving from your income, saving from your business, saving from your side hustle. When your income comes in, you know how we do it. When your income comes in, you should have 5 different strategic bank accounts. And out of those 5 strategic bank accounts, one of them should be your everyday spending money bank account. The second one should be your investment bank account, where you put your investments. The third should be your emergency fund bank account. And the fourth should be your long-term goals bank account, right? And this is separate from your income. Your income account does not safeguard you from financial instability. Your income account, your salary doesn't save you from financial chaos. It is how you plan and diversify your funds to help you grow your wealth and plan for a rainy day that actually safeguards you from financial chaos, right? So if you plan to exit your job, you're tired of your job, then this financial exit framework is for you. The first thing is to have a 6 to 12 months runway. And the 6 to 12 months runway simply means saving enough to keep you alive, to feed you, take care of your, I mean, it's not going to be thousands of dollars, but you should be able to pay your basic necessity, your basic needs for the next 6 to 12 months. That's why it's called the 6 to 12 months runway. What I'm sharing with you is the financial exit framework. And if you're just joining, my name is Dr. Ish. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, so we're talking about the financial exit framework, and this comes in 5 steps. The first step is to have the 6 to 12 months runway, like I earlier mentioned. What you do is every time your income comes in, you don't need to stay on that job for 6 to 12 months. So that's why I'm breaking this down and explaining it to you. When I say a 6 to 12 months runway, what I mean is save enough to take care of you for the next 6 to 12 months. Now, that 6 to 12 months simply means you do, I mean, if you're good in tracking your expenses, not your income, expenses, the monies you spend, you should have a basic idea of how much you spend every month. So that means your electricity bills, those bills you pay every month, electricity, transportation, your feeding, those bills that you cannot possibly do without every month. Once you have a clear idea or an average idea of how much that costs, I usually subscribe, you have an exact figure of how much that costs, right? So what you do is you can decide to save for the next 2, 3 to 5 months to ensure that whatever you are saving can take care of you for the next 6 to 12 months. The next step in the financial exit framework is the debt reduction. If you plan to leave your job, if you're tired of your job, you want to exit from your job and you want to follow your passion, follow your business, or whatever else, you want to play the piano, you want to go on a vacation for a year, or whatever you want to do, you must make sure that you have little or no debts. That's why I call it the debt reduction strategy. The first step is to have your 6 to 12 months runway strategy. And the second is to have your debt reduction, meaning you need to reduce the amount of people you owe monies to. So if you have people that you are owing and all of a sudden you find yourself out of job, trust me, the people that you are owing are still definitely going to come for you. So first step is to have your 6 to 12 months monies saved away. The second step is to have what we call the debt reduction strategy. Make sure you are owing little or nothing. So if you plan to leave your job this year and you're still owing so many people money, then leaving your job this year may not just be a good idea. The first thing you should do is to clear the amount of people that you are owing, or at least reduce it to the bare minimum. So the first step is 6 to 12 months saving for your emergency fund, monies that can take care of you for 6 to 12 months. The next step is to reduce the amount of people you are owing. It's called the debt reduction strategy. The third step is the proof of concept income, right? Proof of concept income means if you have any business idea, or maybe you want to resign from your 9 to 5 because you have a business in mind you want to execute, you should have started that business on a low scale before resigning the 9 to 5. So any business you have in mind you want to start, you should have started it low scale, low volume, while you are running the 9 to 5. Before you decide to leave your 9 to 5 to start a business, your business has to have started before you leave the 9 to 5. This is just intentional strategy. Now, that business has to have gotten to a point where you possibly cannot manage your job and the business together before you leave your job. So you do not leave a job to start a business you're not sure of, you don't know the risk, and then you now start finding out everything from the scratch. So the most technical and financially sound advice I would be giving you is before you leave your job for a business, start your job very small scale on the side while you start a business, on the side while you're working, and then you can now resign after 6 to 12 months when you're sure the business is viable. And when I mean viable, the business is making you some certain amount of money. Okay, remember I said this is the financial exit framework we are discussing to help you escape from your 9 to 5 without financial chaos. And the first step is to have your 6 to 12 months runaway strategy, which is to have enough to take care of you for the next 6 to 12 months to take care of your basic bills, which is your electrical bills, your transportation, your feeding, those kind of things you cannot possibly live without in a month. Then the next thing is your debt reduction. You cannot leave your 9 to 5 if you are owing a lot of people money, because technically your 9 to 5 takes care of every monies you are owing. Every time you collect your salary or your income, you remove a certain amount from the salary and pay off people you are owing. So if you are owing so much of money, you cannot afford to leave your 9 to 5. That is not a wise financial decision to make. And then I spoke about the proof of concept income. Any 9 to 5 you're living for a business, the business needs to have started low scale before you move. So the fourth strategy for the financial exit framework is what I call the skill monetization validation. Now, it's not too different from the proof of concept, but in this case, the skill monetization validation, yes, it tripped me off a bit. So I was talking about the financial exit framework strategy, which any employee or business minded person can use. But technically, this works more for salary earners, employees, people that are earning salaries and are most likely tired of their jobs and want to quit their 9 to 5 for various reasons. Now, at the beginning, I said you may want to quit your 9 to 5 because of burnout, because of that glass ceiling effect. Maybe you're a woman and you feel bullied where you're working, or you feel like you're overworked, the work job is too much, it's too stressful, you're not being paid enough, or you want to quit because of the politics in your workplace or income cap. Maybe you feel you've not been promoted in such a long time and what you're doing is much more than what you're being paid. So whatever reason you choose to resign from your 9 to 5, like I said, is valid. You can just resign because you don't like your boss's face, valid reason. You can resign because, whatever reason you choose is valid. However, what I'm saying is that before you quit your 9 to 5, you need a strategy in place to save you from financial chaos. It makes no sense to escape from your 9 to 5 and then you find yourself financially stranded every day, every month, and then becoming a nuisance to yourself and to other people, right? So if you're the type that doesn't like to beg people for money and borrow money up and down, then this is for you. I've spoken about why people would want to escape their 9 to 5. Several reasons: burnout, not being well paid, not feeling good enough. Your boss is on your case all the time. Your boss is nasty, toxic work environment. Maybe where you work is too far from where you stay, or you're not well paid enough. Good enough reasons. But you must apply what I call the financial exit framework. And I said the first thing is your 6 to 12 months runway plan, which is to make sure at the point you are resigning from that job or escaping from the 9 to 5, you have about 6 to 12 months monies enough to take care of you for the next 6 to 12 months. So you need to strategically save. And you know how I always advise, make sure that every monies you saved is not just lying down in some bank account doing nothing and getting no interest for you. Your money should work for you, and that's the best way to grow wealth. Not just to be rich, but to be wealthy, because riches can be, well, temporary if you ask me, but wealth is more long lasting and can exist for as long as possible, as long as you financially invest with wisdom. So once you have the 6 to 12 months runway in place, the next is to have what we call the debt reduction. You need to make sure that you reduce your debt, reduce your liabilities. In finance, we have what we call the assets and we have what we call the liability. The assets are things, properties, investments that give you good returns on investments. Now, the return on investments come in different percentage. It could be small, it could be much, it just depends. But a good investment gives you an average to sizable amount in terms of returns on investments with as little as more risk. However, everything has its risk. But we're not talking about business risk today. We're just giving you ideas on how to create a financial exit framework for yourself. So after the 6 to 12 months runway is the debt reduction. Like I said, it makes no financial sense to resign from your job when you are owing so much of money. So you need to pay off your debts as much as possible before you resign from your job, unless you are moving from one job to a better job. And when I mean a better job, I mean a job that is paying you obviously more. Another strategy is you need to also address your lifestyle, right? So if when you have a 9 to 5, you know that you are getting income every month and you can afford to buy anything you want depending on how much you're paid. But if you're out of a job, if you leave your 9 to 5, it makes no sense for you to sustain that lifestyle when you obviously know you do not have a job anymore. So if you plan to exit your 9 to 5 this year or anytime soon, then you need to start cutting down on your expenses the minute you make up your mind, right? So let's say you want to resign sometime in June 2026. So it just makes sense that by now your lifestyle should have reduced. Your expenses and how you spend your money should have reduced. And you know how I always advise, track everything you spend and don't leave all your monies in your savings account. Always make sure you invest so your money grows for you, right? I'm going to be talking about passive income in the coming days, but let's still stick to this financial exit framework. I also spoke about proof of concept income and skill monetization validation. Now, the skill monetization validation simply means validating whatever skill it is you have. If you've got any skills, like I said, if you have any skills that can earn income for you, maybe ghostwriting, or you want to become a remote worker, or you have some sort of business that is more connected to your skills, then you have to make sure that those skills are already earning you some monies before you resign. So let's say you're a ghostwriter or you're a YouTube content creator or you're a script writer. You know there's something you do in terms of content creation. So just make sure that you have already monetized that skill, meaning that that skill is already paying you some amount of money before you leave your 9 to 5. Don't be deceived when people tell you, oh, you're such a good writer. You're very good in making scripts. Oh, you're so fantastic. You're so brilliant. If it's only praises that you are being served, that is not going to pay your bills. So you need to be paid in currency, in the dollars, in the pounds, whatever currency, whatever part of the world you're watching from. Any skill you have, if you do not get paid for it, then it is not an asset. It's just a hobby. It's not any skill that is not monetized. It's just a hobby. It's something you love doing. It's a passion, and passion cannot pay the bills. So any skill you have, make sure before you leave your 9 to 5, make sure you monetize those skills before you leave the job. Now, another strategy you can use to safeguard yourself from financial chaos before you escape your 9 to 5, especially if you see it as a very toxic job or it's too stressful or you're not well paid, is what we call asset protection. Now, that asset protection basically means you either start buying assets, say 6 months to a year before you resign. And when I mean assets, I mean it depends on how much you earn or how much you've saved. It could be real estate, it could be cryptocurrency if you're into that kind of thing. It could be mutual funds, it could be insurance policies. Get yourself some assets that can earn you money even when you're out of job, so that even when you leave the job, or God forbid you're asked to leave, those assets will be earning monies for you, which in quotes would be like a salary. That is what I mean by asset protection. So right now, if you search yourself, if you check your finance and you do not own any asset, please and please and please go and find out from any financial expert anywhere around you in any part of the world you're watching this from. Start getting yourself assets. And when I mean assets, it could be fixed assets, it could be buying into other lucrative businesses. You don't need to run your own business, you don't need to start your own business from the scratch. All you need to do is to look out for people that are running good businesses and making good money. Get your lawyers or your accountants to set up contracts. They sign, you sign, agree on the interest rate, and invest in their businesses. And you're lying there in your bed in one jacuzzi and you're earning money. It is that simple. Just make sure you cross your T's, you dot your I's legally, so that, you can sue if you need to sue. You could decide to invest in stock. You could decide to go into real estate, buy dilapidated houses. You could buy land. And like I said, you could invest in other people's businesses. And you could start your own business if you want, or you can develop skills. There's so many skills you can monetize. Ghostwriting, copywriting, content creation, content writing, video scripting, video recording, editing skills. So many skills these days can be monetized. So if you feel you have these wonderful skills, don't just go ahead to resign from your job or quit your job because you feel you have those skills. First of all, monetize those skills. And that's what we call skill monetization validation. And remember what I say about debt. If you are owing people money, quitting your job is not the wisest financial thing to do. If you're owing people money, I always advise make sure you get 80% of your debt paid off before you resign from your job. And I'm telling you this from experience as well. It does not make any financial sense to leave your 9 to 5, to quit your 9 to 5 if you are still owing a lot of people monies, right? But if you're not owing monies, and you have a business you want to go and run, ensure that you have started running that business on the side at a very low scale before you quit your job, right? You can even work your 9 to 5 at the same time with the side hustle, as long as it's not going to take up too much of your time. Now, remember, I also spoke about ensuring you save 6 to 12 months of monies basic that can take care of your basic needs. And when I mean your basic needs, it could be your electrical bills, your transportation, your feeding. Track all your monies coming in and track all your monies going out. And trust me, the essence of tracking is so that you can actually know your financial capacity at every point in time. I remember yesterday during our live session, I was talking about knowing your financial worth. What are you worth as of today financially? You know, when we see celebrities online, you always hear things like, oh, she's worth $10,000, she's worth $1 million. So I'm asking you today, how much do you think you are worth financially? So, I mean, that's a question for you to answer secretly. So the common mistakes a lot of people make, that puts them in a lot of financial stress or financial chaos, especially when they're tired of their 9 to 5. The common mistakes people make are they quit on emotion. They're upset, they're sad, they're angry, and then they quit their job. Another mistake that a lot of people make is they have no runway, they have no backup plan, they have no emergency funds, they have no savings, they have nothing. Now, this is entirely different from being asked to leave the job. So it's if you're asked to leave a job, of course, that I mean nobody prays for such a thing, but it does happen. But if on your own you are deciding to quit a job, if you quit based on emotional reasons, and yet you have a lot of people you're owing monies to, you don't have enough to take care of you for the next 6 to 12 months, you do not have any systems or processes in place, you don't have any side hustle, and neither do you have any skill to protect you, then you are looking, I mean this is just like from frying jumping from the frying pan into fire. So I advise, before you quit any job, do not quit because of emotions. Quit when you have your systems and processes in place, right? Also, another mistake a lot of people make, like I always talk about, is lifestyle inflation. Don't inflate your lifestyle if your salaries or your income cannot take care of your bills or your basic care. So these are just the things that you need to take care of. So I'm gonna really, like, just do a brief recap for the next 1 minute. If you're planning to quit your job this year, these few things I have already shared, I will just run through for the next 1 minute, can save you from financial disgrace, financial instability, and financial chaos. And yes, I will say it again. If you want to quit because of burnout, you want to quit your job because of that glass ceiling effect, or you want to quit your job because of politics, or you feel you're not being well paid, or you are underpaid, or someone is earning more than you, there are valid reasons, like I said. However, if you can just follow this financial exit framework that I'm telling you, it will save you a lot of financial stress, tears, and of course, so many explanations, right? And it's just so easy. Get your 6 to 12 months runway plan, which is to make sure you have enough to take care of your basic needs for the next 6 to 12 months. Now, the second one is debt reduction. If you are owing people, make sure you pay off at least 80% of the debts you're owing other people before you leave the job. Then, proof of concept income. What concept do you have in mind? How viable is that business? How much can that business pay you? So it's advisable to start that business at a small scale before you escalate and leave your job, right? Yes, I mean, some jobs you may just need to quit unceremoniously. I get that. But if it's a situation that is still within your control, please follow this financial exit framework. The 6 to 12 months runway plan, the debt reduction plan, make sure you reduce how much you're owing, the proof of concept income for your business, make sure you try to ensure that you validate that business. Start on a small scale before you quit. Then the skill monetization validation means if you're a ghostwriter, you have ghostwriting skills, you're a good graphic designer, you're a good content creator, you know how to edit videos. I mean, you've got so many good skills. You're good as a remote worker. That is fantastic. But you must make sure that those skills are earning you money before you resign your 9 to 5. It has to be that whatever skills you have can take care of you more than the 9 to 5. And then the final one is the asset protection. The asset protection plan just simply means insurance, have your insurance policies or buy into investments. It could be stock exchange, it could be real estate. There's so many kind of businesses. Asset, remember what I said about assets. Asset protects you from eventualities, especially in the future, right? So you know that you can't be as strong as you were when you're 20s and 30s and 40s when you're in your 50s. So it's always best to plan ahead of time. Remember what we say: if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And I also said that the common mistakes people make when it comes to living 9 to 5 is they quit based on emotion. They quit without having backup plans. When we say backup plans, we mean emergency funds and savings of like your emergency funds, your investments, and your long-term goals, and misplaced priorities. Some people will use the monies they have for investments or the monies they have for emergency funds to go on a vacation or get themselves luxury items, maybe for validation or for people to see them as rich. Remember the last live we had where we spoke about people looking rich even when they're not rich, and how it has a way of depleting your finances and stopping you from becoming wealthy. Another common mistake people make is lifestyle inflation, right? So if you have no skill, maybe now is the right time for you to get some skills. And these things are so easy. YouTube is there, Coursera is there, Udemy is there. There's so many platforms, so many learning model platforms you can use to learn these skills. So freedom without financial structure is just simply is just panic. So if you're planning to exit your 9 to 5 job, please use the financial exit framework I have just talked about. If you have any questions, feel free to drop in the comments, or better still, you can watch any of my videos and drop a comment there or a question there, and I'll be glad to, do a video on whatever topic or area you want me to speak about. So to end it all, if you're planning to leave your job this year or anytime soon, put in the financial exit framework so that it can save you from financial chaos. So thank you very much for staying with me. I remain your one and only Dr. Ish, and my channel Finance with Dr. Ish. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop comments and tell me what you think, what you've learned, and any other area you'd like me to have a live session or a video on. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel where I'll be teaching you financial tips, how to gain financial clarity, financial freedom, to spend with wisdom, and of course to build wealth. So if you're planning to leave your 9 to 5, please apply the exit framework. And if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer. Remember, lifestyle inflation does not help you to gain wealth. Remember, quitting based on emotion without having a framework and a strategy in place will only end up in financial chaos. Also remember, if you want to quit your 9 to 5 for whatever reason, you are valid, but you need to reduce your debt to about 80% before you quit that job. You need to save at least 6 to 12 months of your salary to be able to take care of you for any emergencies while you're out of that job. And also you need to monetize your skills, very, very important, and as well as also protecting your assets. Thank you very much. I look forward to your subscription, and thank you for staying with me during this live session. I will be seeing you same time tomorrow in another live session where I will be picking up another finance topic to educate you and help you. See you soon. Bye.